What does filmed for IMAX mean? It isn't just a movie that'll look great on IMAX's screens. It means that hiding from a sandstorm feels like fear in every flicker. And every triumph is felt in every sound wave. And the things we've only imagined, you can truly experience those too. That's what filmed for IMAX means. Get tickets to experience Dune Part 2 now and IMAX's exclusive expanded aspect ratio.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame, Multiverse, and Carta.
Multiverse and Carta. So which one am I talking to?
Don't know. Could be one of 838
or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Infinite.
In any of these, multiple universes here, are you named Matthew Haas?
No.
Not anymore. Were you ever in any of these multiverses?
No. that was a pseudonym.
Oh, okay.
Not a real person.
No.
Yeah. Nope.
Were you ever named Gator Smoke?
A few times, yes.
Okay.
By the way, I want to sue Loki for that, in fact, because, I came up with Gator Smoke before Loki came out, and then suddenly there's a character who's a gator version of Loki. And then I have a character named Crocodile. That one goes way back. We're talking 6, 7, maybe even 8 years. And all of a sudden, in Moon Knight, we're obsessed with this crocodile goddess. So I want royalties from Marvel. I'm thinking.
Yes, because those things never existed before.
No, but they weren't given the prominence that they were now, and it only happened after I did it. So obviously, there's a connection. Well, that's the world we live in now. So if there's a connection to anything that, however flimsy, it automatically makes it true.
Like Robin Thicke got sued for blurred lines because it sounded vaguely similar to a Marvin Gaye song because he admitted he was inspired by it, but they claimed the style, so now nobody can make a song that sounds like a Marvin Gaye song without having to pay his family.
Right. Or Tom Hanks, once flew on an airplane at one point in his life, and then he also traveled to Greece, so therefore that means he's hiding out in Greece because those two things happen. So, obviously, there's truth to every conspiracy theory, according to that one guy. No matter what it is, as a rule, there has to be a truth. There has to be.
Yes, let me fill the listeners in here. So Tom Hanks was in our local area recently, and there was a bunch of posts underneath it trying to call him a pedophile. And saying that he was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, flight logs, but none of them could provide, sources or facts behind this.
No.
Told me to do my own research.
But then you do, and you can't find anything.
And then anything I shared that refuted that was not logical to them. Because they have confirmation bias.
Yeah, because you have to believe, man. You just have to believe. And really insane shit. But
anywho, speaking of conspiracies and different things of that nature, Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. He is strange.
Yes. So Doctor Strange and in the Multiverse of Madness. I keep wanting to say but it's in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying or I was even doing a apostrophe or whatever.
Yes, and it's a film written by Michael Waldron, who wrote most of WandaVision. and directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Ejiofor. Wait, I memorized how to say this guy's name once, and now I can't say it anymore. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Anyways,
Happens.
he's in it. And then Benedict Wong, and I don't know how to say this girl's first name. Xochitl. Gomez.
I think the X is pronounced like a ch sound.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, Michael Stahlberg and Rachel McAdams, among a cast of thousands.
Yeah.
Yes. Almost literally. And
also like thousands of people who probably worked on the film as well. So then you got those thousands too.
yeah, I sat through the whole credits, so
And then you've got the multiversal versions of those thousands of people as well. So
where they're watching different versions of the movie in their multiverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So
yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So is there like over 800 different versions of this movie?
Probably. Or at least those, probably even more, actually. Who knows? Doctor Strange might even be played by a different actor, or he might have a name, or might not even be a movie about Doctor Strange. It actually might be a movie about Tony Stark.
In some worlds, his name is Humperdick Cumberbatch.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Humperdick Cucumber.
I don't like that. The Humperdick. I don't like that name.
It's
I don't like that name.
Or some of them he's Benny Cum. I'm sorry, that sounded bad.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He's become. Oh wait, no, become.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, it's not that kind of a movie.
No, well, maybe in one of the universes it is.
Well, it could be. Yeah. So,
in one of the universes, Stephen Strange is a porn star, and
it's not, I mean, he's got the goatee for it, so I don't know what I'm saying. Oh boy.
Alrighty, so anyways, we got this movie here that we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Initial reactions here, Sesame.
I'm still not quite. Sure. I mean, I liked it, of course, but I don't know if I think it's like great. Like just from a day or so, of seeing it and watching a bunch of like theory videos and stuff. I still think I like Spider-Man: No Way Home better as a movie. I just think it's better. I mean, the way it was pacing wise, even though the pacing wasn't too bad in this movie either, but like I just I don't know, I just think it's a better movie in general. But just more then again though, there was less going on in that movie, so you had time to sort of dedicate to character development and stuff. And this movie is called the multiverse, or in the Multiverse of Madness, so it's supposed to be just like madness, so a lot of stuff going on, a lot of confusion, so that's the point of the film. So you can't really say like, oh well, I don't like this horror movie because there's too much stabbing in it. It's like, well, that's the genre of the film, so like,
yeah,
what I mean, like it's this this horror movie doesn't remind me of Air Bud 1997, so therefore it's not
that's
good,
the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. By the way, I was watching that John Oliver video again about Air Bud. It's just so funny. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if anyone hadn't watched it yet, just go on YouTube or whatever. He literally for 14 minutes just goes on this rant about the 1997 movie Air Bud and like the ethics behind it and all this kind of
for
stuff.
For fun, I'll link it in the show notes.
Sure, yeah.
So there you go.
But it was all right. It was a good movie. I would change some things in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. I enjoyed it.
My feeling is it was a fun ride. Very Sam Raimi direction. Had a major villain problem. The acting was great as normal. There was also it was choppily written, but then again, Michael Waldron was brought in to do rewrites for the whole script. So there was already a story going on, and he added his touch to it. I think it was mainly because they wanted to have a cohesive kind of story between that and WandaVision in certain aspects.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure it just seemed like there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen here, and they were all trying to make different parts of the meal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That happens. Too many cooks in the kitchen, or
yeah,
not a cohesive, message or whatever.
I mean, you've got. I mean, I don't know anything about wine, but you've got some good wine here, but you just don't have the right food to pair with it. Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I mean, but it sounds like I'm being completely negative, but I actually did really enjoy the film and kind of want to see it again. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably watch it again if I can do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, if somebody wants to pay for me to go to the theater and see it, let me know.
Yeah.
We'll go see it again.
Yeah, donate to the Patreon, and then maybe we'll review it again, see if we change.
Still feel the same way.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I did that for a few movies, and I sort of looked at it a little bit differently. So
there's a lot of movies from time to time I'll revisit them years later, and I'll be like, oh, that's why this movie's good.
Yeah, or just because you changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that.
I wasn't old enough to watch the movie when it came out or something.
Right, yeah.
Mentally, not necessarily physically or age-wise, but,
yeah.
So, alrighty, you wrote a really good review online about this that, if we can find a way, we can always post on our on our website or something if I find a way.
Okay.
But if you want, but what happens in this movie here?
So we really start off just immediately with a lot of stuff going on. So there's a variant of there's Doctor Strange with a little bit different haircut, and he's running with this girl away from a demon or some kind of creature. He's trying to steal some power from her. We don't really know yet what the power is, and eventually they're also trying to find this sort of book that it's kind of it's surrounded by light, so it kind of looks like the DarkHold, but a more pure version of it. Basically, is what it kind of looks like. So it's presumably some kind of other book of magic, or whatever. Like the DarkHold is, that we saw, in WandaVision, and eventually a demon, catches up with them or whatever, and then Doctor Strange decides to steal her power to get to the book, but the whole point of the scene was to stop the demon from stealing her powers. Already we got some contradictions going on in the movie, but no matter. We'll get to that later. But and then so the demon stabs him through the chest or whatever, and then I guess he felt guilty for trying to steal her power, so then he uses his remaining power to try to save her. But then she gets really scared, and she ends up jumping into basically a portal or whatever, and the body of Doctor Strange gets sucked in with her, and then suddenly we see Doctor Strange or Steven waking up in a startle. Turns out the whole thing was a nightmare, or was it? And then he gets dressed. What that?
Said dum bum bum.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. So he gets dressed, and turns out he's going to Christine's wedding, to support her. And it's revealed that people pretty much know that he's a superhero. It's not a secret kind. Because for a while, I was really never sure if people even knew who Doctor Strange was, publicly. I knew that the other Avengers knew well, I'm not sure if he was ever an Avenger really, but like I knew that the other superheroes knew him, but I wasn't really quite sure if like the public knew him. It seemed like he kind of
if he was more of a behind the scenes sort of guy, or if he wasn't like, you know, out there like the Hulk or Captain America or something.
Right. So I was I mean, it never stated outright, but I was under the impression that no one knew who he was. But it was revealed that they did because the doctor that used to works in the hospital that Steven used to work at, he sits next. Well, a lot of people they start sitting away from him. Actually, like they don't want like he's like a pariah, I guess, to them. Like they don't want to.
Well, yeah, they blame him for his choice when it came to Thanos because you know they might not have had the 5-year blip if it wasn't for
him. So they knew that, which is weird. Like how are people knowing like the full history? Like did someone write a book about it? Like we don't even know how this.
Well, we already know there's a Broadway musical about the first Avengers movie. Right. So
yeah, but I don't know if they knew all the details either. But like,
so maybe there was a. You know, there might be like a mini-series on HBO Max about it or something, you know, or Disney Plus for this matter, whatever. You know, I'm just saying.
I go, yeah, maybe it's in a different universe where they have this. But, but yeah, so like in the doctor, I forgot his name, but he basically like, you know, like asks Steven, like, you know, was it really absolutely necessary that he had to do that? And he's like, yes, there was no other way. And so the guy's like, okay, whatever. And then, you know, he watches Christine walk down the aisle. He gets all sad, starts drinking a bunch at the bar, talks to Christine, does the whole, you know, I'm sorry that I ruined things between us. By the way, guys, or gals, don't do that at a wedding. Like,
no, nobody wants to hear that, even not at a wedding.
That's their day. Don't make it about you. Like, just don't, you know.
Also, don't go on Facebook and then just start, you know, messaging your ex and do that too.
Yeah. Just don't do that. But that's what Steven does. That's what he does. He's kind of selfish in that way. So, you know, he's like, oh, I'm sorry that we couldn't work it out and it was my fault, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, we hear a bunch of screaming. People are running away from something, some weird tentacle monster with one big eye, which I think we saw this monster in the first Doctor Strange movie at one point for like I don't know for how long, but like
I don't know. It's been years since I've seen the first Doctor Strange.
Either that or maybe in the episode of What If. I think we saw a monster like that in the Captain Carter, the very first episode of What If, I think. And so, you know, this weird tentacle thing. Also, not to like point fingers here, but it kind of reminded me of the monster in the Suicide Squad, like the one.
Yeah, me too. Hiding. I mean, it was kind of like they were, you know, piggybacking on that.
So not you know, get all, you know, whatever. But I was like, that seems interesting. But anyway, so but this creature exists in the Marvel universe, the comics, so whatever, it's fine. And so they gets into some big fight. Eventually, he sees the girl that was in his dream, and he's like, "Wait a minute! I had a dream last night where I was with this girl and I tried to kill her, while at the same time I was trying to prevent the demon from killing her." But again, no matter, we don't need to get into consistency here. But and then so she's like, "Oh, the thing's trying to kill me. It's been following me or whatever." So then like Steven like basically like displays a whole bunch of magic that we haven't really seen him use yet in the movies. Like I don't know if he's learned more or what, but like a lot new magic. And he eventually he takes like a big piece of like rebarb and like a spiky thing, just shoves it in the monster's eye and just kills it and pulls out the eyeball. This movie gets pretty gross about stuff like that. And and then there you go, monster's dead, and that's the end of the movie. And then you know, the girl's saved and she thanks them, and that's it. No, he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "My name is America Chavez." And yeah,
which by the way is an awesome name.
Oh, it is. Oh, by the way, too, like I'm almost certain, like, you know, like the Quartering or whoever else is probably making videos right now about like, oh, well, of course we have to have a Latina girl named America, and oh, by the way, she has two moms. We gotta be woke, man, or something.
Even though that's in the comics already.
Doesn't matter.
But
Doesn't matter.
yeah, I wouldn't know because I blocked his channel on YouTube.
Yeah, but yeah. So go ahead. Yeah.
You want to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and talk more about this?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of talk about, so.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we'll just take a couple breaks here, and we'll be right back after this.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
And we are back.
Yeah.
Back in black.
No.
It's a fact that I hate AC/DC. Actually, that's a fact. But anyway, so
yeah.
I'm also upset at Zoom because they are deciding to cut the time of their meetings, so which is what we use to record this. So we might have to find something different to record this on. So
Yep.
Even though I like the audio quality on Zoom better than other things. So
exactly.
So back to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. What else is going on here in this crazy mixed up movie?
Well, after they're safe from the monster, they start talking to America to figure out who she is, what's going on. Turns out it was not a dream that Stephen had, that he was actually seeing a different variant of himself, going through that exact experience. And then she shows him the body of the dead Strange, who was called Defender Strange, because they all have names. So he was Defender Strange, and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry, I tried to kill you, or this version of me, or whatever." And then they make a few more points about how Wanda is the Sorcerer Supreme, and a bunch of banter about that, because Steven's still kind of sour, about that. That was it was a technicality, and it's like, actually no, he's just the better Sorcerer Supreme than Steven is. He's got his head on straight a little bit better, but he doesn't do like freaking mind altering spells that are going to brainwash the entire world to help out like a 17-year-old kid.
Don't we all do that though?
Well, I don't know. I don't know, but so he's like, "Oh well, I know we could ask for help." And then he goes to meet Wanda at like her cabin or whatever she was living in, and she's like, bunch of like an orchid of like apple trees or whatever, and she's like pruning them and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, I found this kid. Some demons are trying to attack her because she's got like this like superpower where she can like jump through like the multiverse. Like, what do you know about the multiverse?" And she's like, "Well, Viz told me a little bit about it, and he believed in it, and we don't really know much about it." And and he's like, "I know that you hear talk about Westview." And he's like, "No, I don't really care about what happened in Westview. That's in the past. This is more important." And then she's like, "Well, like, I don't know what you expect, if you bring America here." And then she's like, "Oops, you didn't say her name, did you?" And he's like, "No." And then she's like, "Oh, the hex is always easier than lying or whatever." And then she like, reveals that like they're just basically in like this wasteland now. Like she was just put this whole spell to make it look like, it's like a regular looking land, now it's just like a hellscape type of thing from all the dark magic that she's been practicing. And then like she immediately goes full villain. I mean immediately, it was like 30 seconds after this scene. Like it wasn't like there was literally no build up at all. Like with WandaVision, it was like, "Oh, does she know what she's doing? Is she being brainwashed by someone else?" There was like a sort of build up effect, like, "Oh, I guess she sort of knows what she's doing. She's actually kind of controlling these people." now it was like, oh, I'm pruning trees, and then 30 seconds later, it's like, I'm asking nicely to hand over America, or I'm going to destroy everything. It's like, whoa,
I mean, I hate to be general here, but the metaphor here is because she's a Scarlet Witch, and it's kind of like when someone's on their period. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, I wouldn't do that.
I was just joking. It popped in my head, and I had to say it.
Wow. No, I wouldn't go that far, but she like just goes full villain, like, oh well, I need her power because I want to see my kids. Like every time she talked about her kids, I literally kept thinking of that scene in Arrested Development where this guy's like method acting, where he's like, I just want my kids back, like that's like his line. Like every time she said that, like I'm just thinking of that guy, like he's like a construction worker, like I just want my kids back.
It's funny that you say it. It always reminded me of the movie Gone Baby Gone, and the mother in there lost her daughter.
Oh,
it's played by Amy Ryan from The Office and Only Murders in the Building and other things. And she's just like, "Give me back my motherfucking daughter."
Wow,
that played in my head every time. It's like, "Give me back my motherfucking sons." Is what I was thinking.
I mean, well, that's the whole. See, that's the villain problem. That's literally her only motivation. That's it. And then she repeats this throughout the entire movie. And it's like, okay, we understand why you're evil now. You don't need to keep repeating your. I mean, like, we get it. Like you don't see that in other movies where like they usually reveal their big plan, and then like it'll be like Thanos constantly talking about, like, we need to destroy half the universe. I mean,
even evil people in the real world don't say the evil thing out loud. Usually, their motivation out loud.
Even if they do, it's like a big reveal, and then that's it. They don't keep talking about throughout the entire movie. Like if Thanos, like every other scene, he's like, "We gotta erase half the universe because there's not enough resources." And like, yeah, you just said that 10 minutes ago. Like you're giving the speech again. Like what?
It also just didn't. It didn't seem like. I mean, maybe it's because I'm not a parent, but I mean, I do have family members I love dearly, and I would be pissed if they were not in my life. It just doesn't seem like the only motivation that would cause her to become this evil. Because people lose kids every day, and they don't try to take over the multiverse.
Right, exactly. And it's too, they're not even her kids. So it's like she dreams of Billy and Tommy every single night, which again, no, that might not even actually be a dream, because since, Steven had that quote dream of Defender Strange, that actually was not a dream. He was actually experiencing a variant of himself in the dream world. So yeah, she actually might not be dreaming of this happening. She might just be experiencing another variant of Wanda doing that exact thing.
So by this theory, the dream I had the other night where I was climbing up a mountain in a car with Will Smith, and then all of a sudden it became a roller coaster. Is that really happening in some other world?
Well, according to this movie, it is, because they said the same thing about Wong, where he's like, if he's running away from a clown or something like that. And that reminds me. So there's actually a real cult out there. I don't know if they're still around, but they were like around like in the 60s, 70s, maybe. I forgot I think they're called like star people, which is interesting because the shape of the America's portals that she jumps through are actually shaped like a star. So it's very interesting.
I wonder if there's any symbolism there. I always thought it was just because her name's America.
Well, it probably is, but I'm just saying it's a coincidence. So like there was a cult out there back in the 60s, and it was formed by like this former failed actress who never really made it or whatever. So then she became a cult leader, like you do. And it was like called like the Star People, or I forgot, something like that. And like they had these really bizarre beliefs where one of them was that anything that a person could imagine actually already happened somewhere in like the universe. Like, so there's no such thing as imagination. It's just a memory of something that already happened, either in your own like past life, or maybe like a different variant of yourself, or maybe it's like a collective mind type of situation where you're having someone else's memory, but you think you're imagining it. And like, it's like one of the followers said, like, it's absolutely real. Like Star Wars absolutely happened, and like he actually believed that. He was like a 50-year-old man. He believed that Star Wars is real. But anyway,
are you telling me it's not?
No, I'm sorry, it's fiction. But like, so there's like, so that's like a little bit of that where apparently dreams aren't actually dreams now. That's kind of weird, but whatever, fine. This whole movie's weird. So like, I forgot what I was saying, but she's like, oh, I dream of them every night and blah, 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 blah. And they actually do exist in the multiverse because I've seen them. And like, so her plan, so like, she pretty much lays out her plan like right away. So again, another bad villain move right there where everything's just laid out immediately.
Yeah, it's like let's tie James Bond down to a table and then tell him exactly what we're planning to do.
Within like the first 15-20 minutes of the movie. Yeah. And it was probably around 20-30 minutes into it. So like, and this movie actually had a good runtime because, to be honest, 3-hour-long Marvel movies are getting a little bit much for me. Like 2-hour movies, fine. I don't need it to be 17 hours. Like it's okay. Like, you know, we don't need every little detail to be covered. Like type. So that was fine. And that was one of the things I liked about the movie is the fact that it wasn't too long.
Yeah.
For me. But so she's like, oh, so my plan is I'm gonna go kill a child. Just gonna let that float in the air for a minute. I'm gonna murder a child who I believe was actually 14 years old, character-wise. I'm not sure about the actress, but
she was the actress was 14 when she started filming.
Oh, okay. So maybe
she's currently 16. So in the movie, she's probably about 14 or 15. So yeah.
Yeah, so her character's probably around 14 to maybe 15, 16, whatever. So she's gonna murder a child and steal, and by stealing her multiverse jumping powers, so that she could then jump into one of the universes where her kids are real, and she's gonna kill the doppelganger, the variant of herself, and then just take over as mother. So essentially, so she's committing multiple felonies. She's got one murder. It's like the big one. Also murder of a child that probably incurs more of a prison sentence.
And kidnapping.
And kidnapping, exactly. So already she's looking at multiple life sentences already within like the first 20 minutes of the movie. So, and then she's like, she does the whole I'm asking nicely speech like she did in WandaVision, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is me being reasonable, etc., etc., etc. Steven's like, oh, well, if you want to fight, you're going to get it, you know, type of thing, you know. And then she goes and storms Taj and kills a bunch of people, you know, there. So that's more murders on you know, under her belt, more prison time. And which that's the other thing about these superhero movies. Why is it that superheroes or anyone with superpowers rather are not punished for crimes that any other person would be punished for? Like, it's not just Marvel. Like DC does the same thing, where it's like people have literally like murdered. Like, they've killed people, but they don't go to like superhero jail or anything.
Well, they did have the Sokovia Accords.
What's that?
The Sokovia Accords. I mean, like in Ant-Man 2, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott was basically under house arrest.
Yeah, but that was it though, and then
but he didn't kill anybody, so.
No, he didn't. That's the rule. See, if you don't kill someone, you go to jail. But if you do, it's fine. Because that's the
well, it's like the real world. You know, you can kill somebody and you're fine. But if you have like a small bag of weed in your car, you're probably going to go to jail for life.
Yeah, depending on what state you live in. Yeah. So she kills a bunch of people, burns them alive, gruesome, brutal. That's the other thing too. So like, she's like so evil that. Like, she's not just killing people in service to her goals. Like, she's intentionally being brutal and cruel about it. So it's like, why? Like we get it. Like, you want your kids, but like, and you're willing to kill for your kids. But like, so by that logic, that's like, if I had children, which I don't, and I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes to get my kids back, even if it means killing someone. So if I had the choice between like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go like shoot this person in the head, and just without them even knowing about it, or I'm gonna like dismember all of their limbs, like I'm gonna go dismember. Like, why would you go that route? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird.
And on top of that, they're not her kids.
Exactly, that's the thing. So even if we even accept the argument, which I don't, it still falls away, just falls apart. Yeah, just from that aspect alone.
And my thing is too, she's still a young woman. She could go and I know she doesn't have vision anymore or whatever. She could go adopt kids.
Exactly.
Or meet a guy and have kids with them, or get artificially inseminated, whatever, she could, that's the movie I want to see, is where Doctor Strange goes to visit her, and then he's like, and she's like, you're a doctor, right? He's like, yeah. I mean like a real doctor. He's like, yeah. Do you know any fertility clinics or fertility doctors? Because I want to have some kids. That's the movie I want to see.
Sure. He gives her a bunch of like paperwork and like, that would be a good move.
And then it ends.
That's the thing. So like what you said though is absolutely true. So that kind of makes sense about Wandavision. So that kind of goes back to Wandavision a little bit. So technically, Wanda didn't just create these kids out of thin air. I mean, she did magically through the illusion, but that was because the multiverse exists, and there was already a variant of Wanda who had those children. So that was why she was able to conjure up kids that looked exactly the same as those kids do, because those kids actually do really exist. But she probably at the time had no idea that there was variants of herself and all that stuff, right? So they're literally not her kids. The only reason she was able to conjure up the image of them is because they already exist, but someone else is their mother. We don't know who their father is either. That's the other thing too. We don't know anything about that. It's probably not Vision.
That would have been interesting to see who the freaking father was in these other.
We don't know. So that was the thing that was left. Anyway, so I'm kind of rambling. I'm talking too much here. What else happened?
Okay, so all right. What part did we get up to before we started going off on this? It was about where they were.
When she attacked Carmitage.
Yeah. Okay. So she attacks the Carmitage, and killing many sorcerers, and then during this, because she's scared, America accidentally transports herself to and Strange, because he's going after her to save her, and across the multiverse, and they end up in they go through a bunch of different multiverses, and you see some really cool ones and creepy and crazy ones. And they end up in Earth 838, which while this is happening, Wong is trying to, Wong is kind of like being held hostage by Maximoff. After she was able to, they had her captured for a minute, and then for some reason she was able to let herself out through reflections, escaping through the reflections, like a portal sort of thing. Yeah. Which was kind of cool, because you had this cool scene where she kind of comes out of the mirror all like, I don't know, the girl from The Ring sort of way or something, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So to try to cover up the reflections, which is interesting too, because we just watched Moon Knight episode 5, and they had the flashback of Randall's or Roro's Shiva, and according to like Jewish customs, you're supposed to cover up mirrors and stuff like that, because like apparently like souls and stuff like that could like reach out through that,
which is interesting, because on that show, Moon Knight was able to communicate with himself through mirrors.
Right. So that's very interesting. I don't know if that was intentional
probably.
Or not, but that was,
probably. Yeah. So, while this is happening, we find out that there's a way that you can do this thing called dream walking, using the DarkHold, where you can dream walk into. So basically, you're going into your dream and being able to take over the body of somebody in another universe. So she's able to go into her own body in Earth 838. Who's living a suburban life with her own Billy and Tommy, her sons. Which is interesting, again, because who's their daddy?
Right. Exactly.
Do we need to get Maury Povich on this or what?
It'd be really interesting.
What's
I
that?
just thought about this. Well, later on, I don't want. Never mind. We'll talk about
Okay,
later.
talk when we get to it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we find out that there's a mountain called Mount Wandagore. Almost like Wandagore, but it's Wandagore.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, the source of the DarkHold's power, because the DarkHold is destroyed while she's doing this. And
yes.
Yeah, and so find out that the DarkHold is actually a copy of stuff written on the walls of this Wandagore. So she forces Wong to take her there. The Sorcerer Supreme, right. Wong. Yeah.
Only by torturing his students, not because of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of his students tries to stop her and she dies and stuff like that too. So
yeah. But I just want to let that no, he wasn't being a coward. It was because he was torturing students. Yeah.
Yeah. So while this is happening, Strange and Chavez are on their Earth, where they run into Mordo at the what's the place that he lives called?
The Sanctum Sanctorum?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They go to the Sanctum Sanctorum and they see like a big statue of Strange there. And this is after they get there and America takes a couple pizza balls from a street vendor who is played by Bruce Campbell, who is good friends with the director Sam Raimi. And Strange puts a little curse on him where he has where Bruce Campbell is beating himself up constantly for only 3 weeks. So
that's because for 3 weeks. That's because she didn't pay, because she said that most universes food is free, but apparently this is one of them where you have to pay for it. So.
Yeah, that'd be a nice universe to live in, one of those free ones.
Yeah. It's kind of a nice little social commentary. Like, yeah, most universes food is free. I don't know why yours is,
why you guys have to pay for it. Yeah. Basically, Mordo's playing, brother and friend to them, but then he drugs them, including the underage girl.
I wrote that in my review. I'm like, hold on, let's let that float in the air for a moment before you talk about it. He drugged 2 people, one of whom was a 14 to 16-year-old girl. Just let it sit. Let it sit. I'm not saying it's funny. I'm just saying let it sit there for a moment. This is the kind of person we're dealing with here.
So they're brought to this place where we encounter that version of Strange's ex-fiancée Christine Palmer, who has red hair in this universe for some reason.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, she had red hair.
Oh, okay.
Because like in the 616 universe, which is the Prime universe that we watch all the time, she has she's a brunette, but here she's a redhead for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they're taken to brought before this group of people. Well, he is, I should say. After being arrested by Mordo, who drugged a teenager. I'm going to say that again. He drugged a teenager. This is
the kind of person we're dealing with here.
Yeah. He did have cool dreads, though. Anyway, so
I'm just not going to let that slide. I don't want to keep hampering on it.
Yeah.
But dude, like did they just like not think of that when they wrote that, or like because it wasn't like meant. It wasn't played for like oh, it's a really serious thing he did. So I don't even know if they even like thought the implications of this. Like,
yeah, probably not because it wasn't just her he was doing it to. So it was kind of so that wasn't the key moment of the scene. Anyways, so they take him to this group of judges that are called the Illuminati. Which is a secret society consisting of, we get Mordo, of course, who we already met, and we learn his first name is Carl. He has cool dreads, though, but he did drug a teenager. Anyway, so, sounds like something somebody named Carl would do. I can't say that. My best friend growing up was named Carl. But, The other people that we have there is Captain Peggy Carter, played by what's her name? I
don't know.
Haley Atwell. Sorry. Then we have King Blackagar Boltagon, also known as Black Bolt, played by Anson Mount, who played him in the TV series The Inhumans. So he reprising the role, but with a more comic accurate costume than was in that TV series.
Terrible.
I've never even tried to watch it. I love Anson Mount though. But I'll bring up something in a second here. Then we have Captain Maria Rambeau. Played again by, what's her name? I'm bad on names right now.
It's all right. She's Captain Marvel.
Lashana Lynch. Yeah. Who we saw in Captain Marvel.
And she is Captain Marvel in this
universe. Yeah. Then we have Dr. Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski from The Office, who's everybody's wish to play that role. So that was an interesting cameo that we had.
I remember that. Yeah, people were like, "Oh my god, he's definitely going to be in it." Well, yeah, he was actually.
Yeah, that's kind of surprised me. I didn't think it was real. And then we have Professor Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart. Yes, from the X-Men universe of movies. And this is what I wanted to point out, is the fact that we have Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek, as well as Captain Pike from Star Trek, Anson Mount. So we had two captains of the Starship Enterprise on that. Two different actors. So yeah. Okay, so they explain through through reckless use of the DarkHold there, they were able to defeat Thanos. Strange was, at least, and so he triggered an incursion that destroyed a whole universe.
Right. So Thanos was going to kill half a universe on purpose, and this Stephen Strange did it accidentally, but killed an entire universe.
I think I do that twice a day. I'm not sure though. But but anyways, so they're going to pass judgment on our Doctor Strange here, and because they think he's going to be as dangerous as their Strange, that Stranges are meant to be dangerous no matter what universe they're in.
Yeah.
But before they can pass judgment, Wanda comes in and reestablishes her dream-walking power at while she's at Mount Wundagore, which we find out is like basically a shrine to her, or to the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while she's in the body of her 838 counterpart, she goes in and she basically kills all of the Illuminati except for Mordo.
Yeah,
because he
but
never.
Mordo was looking for more sedatives, to use. So like he was
off. He was off being chicken shit and not actually taking on Wanda at the time too.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what. Yeah, who knows what happens to him? We don't even know actually.
I mean, a guy in a fucking wheelchair went and took her on, but he couldn't.
Well, I don't even know if he even knew what was going on at the time.
I know he probably didn't. I'm just trying to.
So she murders all of the Illuminati that we just met like 10 minutes ago, maybe 15, and brutally again. It's like why do you have to kill people in such an extreme? That's what gets me about her being a villain right now. It's like okay, you have to kill to get your way. I mean, that's bad enough, but like. Why, like the way she killed Reed Richards was just disgusting. Like, why? Like,
because of Sam Raimi directing, and he's known for making things gross, like the Evil Dead movies and stuff.
Fine, but I mean, character-wise, not whether
I know
he likes that, but like, it just seems out of character for her, really. Like, because like how bad she felt when she accidentally. Destroyed that building and was it Laos?
Yeah.
In Civil War, and how much guilt ridden she was about that. And that was an accident. She was trying to stop like a guy from killing a bunch of people or whatever. And then we go from that Wanda to like I'm just gonna like literally stretch Reed Richards to the point where he just becomes like a puddle of like nothingness. Like, like, and then she cut Captain Carter in half. Sorry, I'm not trying to ruin. You go ahead. I don't mean to speak.
Oh no, go ahead. That's fine. Actually, do you want to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
And we are back.
Yep.
Yes, we are. Okay, so back to the plot here. So while this is all going on, now Maximoff is killing off everybody. One by one, she kills off all of the Illuminati, except for Mordo. And basically then Mordo and Strange have a little fight and everything, and then does Mordo end up dying?
See, I don't think so. I think he just gets knocked out because he wasn't. I don't think he was part of the battle. He was still in the room where he
was like in the courtroom or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
And Wanda probably, she wasn't going to go, just kill random people, who wasn't in her way. So I think she didn't even know he was around or whatever. And then, but yeah, she killed everyone else. I mean, she turned Reed Richards into like a puddle.
And Strange kind of ends up getting his handcuffs taken off and put on Mordo.
Yeah.
Through a little, battle that we're just going to speed through here when we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a scene where Chavez, America is able to get out of this cage she's in with the help of Christine Palmer and herself. She ends up being able to kind of focus her energy to break the glass of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Then they decide they need to get to the Book of Vishante, which is the book from the dream at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like probably the most horror kind of scene of the movie where Wanda's almost like a zombie, and I think it's really interesting if you look at her makeup. It's like she's all dirty on one side of her face and all clean on the other.
Yeah, she was walking all weird too. It kind of reminded me of the zombie episode of What If.
Yeah,
where she was a zombie.
But it's interesting because she's got the bad on the one side and the good on the other, because she's taking over the body of another Wanda. She's not,
right,
fully
and plus too,
bad and fully good.
And plus too, literally, she's essentially puppeteering someone else's body, so that's kind of like a zombie-ish sort of.
Yeah, she's going. She's going all being John Malkovich on this, and
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of horror stuff in this movie. It's really interesting.
It's really the first major horror movie within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, besides, we had the episode of What If, but besides that, so they have this really cool like horror chase down a hallway that reminds you of like a Michael Myers or a Freddy Krueger chasing bad guys or something like that. We then have they get to this door where the Book of Vishante's on the other side of. And they realize that they need something to open it. Christine has the watch that she had given her Steven, and they use that as a key to open it, which is, very important watch in our storyline here of Doctor Strange. Because it's a memory of him after his accident and how he's dealing as a fractured person.
Yeah.
So we have that going on. And then they try to get the Book of Vishante. They're in there, and they almost have it. It ends up getting destroyed by Wanda when she comes in. So Strange decides to. They end up having to go. They escape through a portal to another universe where there's a really dark, creepy Doctor Strange there. And the whole world.
This universe is like disintegrating constantly, it's like perpetually like stuck, basically. Like cars are floating and buildings are like crumbling apart, but it just stays that way, like they don't completely fall apart. Yeah. I think he's probably the only one who's alive and
yeah, it did have a I Am Legend feel to it. Maybe that's why I had the dream about Will Smith. Anyway, so but we have this he meets up with his other Strange. They have this big fight because there's this whole we realize that this Strange has been corrupted by the DarkHold. But they need the DarkHold to be able to dreamwalk into the dead body that we encountered at the beginning of the movie.
So we already had, counting 3 people who've already been corrupted by the DarkHold, and we need to use the DarkHold. It's like, come on, guys! Like,
wish there was another way.
The fight scene between him and
that was pretty cool.
It was really interesting. Like, they were like throwing musical notes at each other for some reason. Music and instruments, which I didn't really quite understand.
It was the worst. I mean, it was the best battle with classical music that I've seen since I saw Amadeus, and
yeah, exactly. Because like literally, they're throwing sounds at each other. Like you can hear like parts of the music, like, and then R. Stevens ends up like taking like a note from a harp, and then that's what knocks him. Sinister Strange, who's got a third eye, because apparently that's part of the powers he got from the DarkHold. And he ends up, falling out. The thing gets impaled by one of the gate spikes, of course. Which is weird, because you think, of all the magic he's got, that he'd be able to like float or fly or do something like that. But apparently, convenience non-magic for that. Because it's like, come on. you know, like this guy, you know, is super all powerful. That's the other thing I forgot. So his mission is that he kills other Doctor Stranges because I guess he thinks they're all evil too or something. And I don't know, like, so.
Or there can be only one. I don't know.
The only one. I don't remember exactly what his reasoning was. There's so much going on in this movie, it's hard to remember everything. But yeah, he ends up getting killed. Oh, I know why. It's because he saw Christine down there, and he was probably distracted by that, so he didn't even think of using magic, so he kind of got caught off guard. So Christine actually saved, technically, think about it, just by his being there.
Yeah, and he wanted her. He's like, give me your Christine, you know, sort of thing.
Right. It's not your, like that's what I don't understand about this stuff. Okay, so it's like, if the multiverse is real, okay, and just for argument's sake it is, which I actually do believe it exists.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no reason to. I'm not a scientist, but I do believe it's real. Fine, whatever. People believe in all kinds of weird shit. It's fine. But I mean, you know, people believe that, you know, a certain prophet, you know, did this, did that, whatever. Fine, we all believe stuff. But like, that version of those people aren't your people, though. Like, they have different experiences, life experience.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of like, I mean, in a more realistic version, it's like, have you ever seen the movie Vertigo?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to kind of spoil it for you. I'm spoiling a, you know, like 70-year-old movie. But anyways, in the movie, Jimmy Stewart, he loses his girlfriend or wife. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. And then he basically starts trying to make this other woman into her image.
Oh, wow.
Because she looks like her, but he like makes her dye her hair, do all this other stuff. And, you know, basically you're trying to create the love you had before. But it's a completely different person, so it's not going to be the same regardless.
Right.
Because like you said, they don't have the same experiences.
Or even look at it from this perspective, a much simpler one. I just thought of this right now. Just take away the multiverse altogether. Let's say that you were in love with someone, or you had a best friend, or whatever, and then that person had a identical twin.
Yeah.
Well, so by that logic, it's really no difference. Actually, if anything, it's actually the multiversal thing is actually more of a difference than the twin sibling, actually, because when you're twins, technically you kind of grow up together, you have similar experiences, you might have similar, you know, there's sort of like theories that twins sort of have like a sort of like sense where they can like sense each other's pain or whatever. So if anything, the multiverse thing actually makes less sense than the twin thing. But fine, we'll just set that aside. And so it's like, oh well, I lost my girlfriend, or she died, or whatever. So therefore, I'm gonna just like go out with her twin sister and just like assume that she's like the same person. Like
yeah, but you didn't have the same experiences together, and everything's different. It's not the same as having the same kids or the same wife or boyfriend or whatever. But anyways, back to go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it reminded me of something. So my 7th grade world history teacher, I don't know why I'm even thinking of this. He was you know, he got married and stuff, but his wife had a twin sister, and he said at one point in time he was actually dating both of them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like,
wow.
And it's like, one's not enough. Like,
that's some Barney Stinson sort of stuff. Anyways, so but back to the movie here. So he goes into zombie Strange's body to fight off Wanda. He basically tries to, while he's there, Wong basically tells him that the only way that he can defeat her is if he steals America's power, which he doesn't do. And he ends up basically telling her that she has the ability to do it. She basically comes into her own, is able to use her powers and control them, but also uses logic and talking to Wanda, and then shows her, lets her experience what she wants. Lets her go into a world where her kids and the kids are frightened to death of her. So
yeah, exactly.
So she realizes that what she wants is not right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. And then she ends up killing herself. Wanda does.
Supposedly.
Yeah, we don't know yet. But she lets the Wundagore, Mount Wundagore fall on her. The magic trio here go back to the Carmitage and they start to rebuild it, and America's learning her powers and stuff, and then we have she basically thanks Doctor Strange. And so sometime later we see in a mid-credit scene. Well, yeah, first we see Strange fixing his watch, which is symbolic of him growing as a person and rebuilding his life. And then in a mid-credit scene, Strange is approached by a sorceress who warns him that his actions have triggered another incursion that he must help stop.
Well, before that, though, he ends up passing out and grows a third eye when he's walking outside.
Yeah, he's walking outside with his cool scarf on that becomes his cape. Anyway, so then he follows her, and that's a character played by Charlize Theron.
Yeah, she's supposed. What's the character supposed to be? I forgot her name.
Clea.
Huh?
Clea or Clea.
Oh, yeah, because she's wearing purple, and apparently there's a character that's.
Yeah, and in the in the comics, she ends up becoming a love interest to Doctor Strange, and I think they get married and stuff like that. So we'll see where that follows up somewhere. And then we also
similar powers,
Then we have the follow-up credit scene.
Of course, gotta have that.
Yeah, and it's Bruce Campbell's Pizza Papa punching himself in the face still.
For 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, and then at one point he says, "It's over," and then he looks right at the camera and says, "It's over."
You get it?
Yeah.
It's over. The movie's over. You get it?
It's like, get the fuck out of here, people. Yeah.
It's like, get out. I did forget to mention, though, we do have a scene where when they're when they first get to Universe 838, and there's like, it's kind of like more futuristic than our world is, and they have like these little things where if you step on them, they show you like memories of your past.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Steven's got a memory where he's like on a date with Christine, like when they're first dating, and then America's got a memory when she was like a little kid with her mom's, which again, people are going to be freaking out about that. Oh, it's Marvel's getting woke, even though it's in the comics. But those even say that the comics.
But that's okay if you want to watch good wholesome stuff. I know some fucking twat bag on online who owns something who's starting his own little kids channel, so we'll be good.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not going to give him a name or credit, so there we go.
No, that's he's a piece of shit, whatever. I hope he chokes on chicken wing and dies. Anyway, sorry, that was mean, but I don't care, actually. I do hope so. But anyway, because some of these people are just so evil. But like, anyway, so she accidentally like puts her parents, into like a portal because she got afraid of like a bee because she was like, a little kid or whatever. So like that what triggered her, her like multiverse jumping, ability. And it looked like they were kind of in some sort of like, it didn't even look like a world. It looked like kind of like a pocket dimension kind of place to me. Like it kind of, I don't know.
Unless that's what the world looked like.
It had like an otherworldly vibe to me, I don't know. But just the way they were dressed too. The parents were dressed like an almost like spiritual-ish kind of like. I don't know. I can't explain it, but like I got that vibe that they were in like they lived like in a sort of like other realm kind of like. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see if I'm being.
We'll see if any of this pays off. This is all setting up the Young Avengers, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, of course. There's so many of the characters already been introduced. So any other final thoughts here before we wrap things up? Just just go see it. It's a good movie.
Well, if you've listened to all of this and you haven't seen it, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I guess. Go see it again if you can afford to. I would definitely think this is it's definitely warrants a second viewing at the very least, just because of how much. Whether or not this is a great movie, it's very, extremely important in the grand scheme of things as far as like the new phase of Marvel movies and shows are going.
Like I said, regardless of its flaws, it's a fun ride.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I enjoyed it, and like I said before, I'm glad that it wasn't super long, because I'm getting tired of 2.5 hour long movies.
Oh yeah,
2 hours and 45, especially superhero movies. Like you don't even like deep movies aren't that long anymore. So like,
no,
if those movies aren't that long, superhero movies definitely should not be that long. Like, I mean, I'm actually kind of looking forward to like the 1.5 hour long, movies again.
Me too. It's like that short ass movies sketch on SNL.
Exactly. And plus, too, part of it's a selfish reason. Just getting a little bit older, kind of have to go to the bathroom a little bit more.
Well, yeah, quicker, when you have to go like 3 times during a movie, it's not fun anymore.
So it's like, I don't want to sit through a 17-hour long movie and then miss the important scene,
Yeah, so anyways, that's all I got to say here. Hopefully, folks enjoyed this episode. If you did, give us a 5-star review on Apple podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you can review us. Check out our TeePublic, get some shirts. Go to Patreon, help support us.
Yeah.
I don't know, give us $1 million, that'd be great.
Yeah.
If you're listening out there, Elon Musk, I have a perfect podcast that you can sponsor. Just $1 million to sponsor whatever you want on it. I don't care.
No, I don't agree with that.
I'm joking. So
Elon Musk can go F himself.
But anyways, until next time, folks, be good to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Wear a mask, wear your clothes, wear a condom, or a cape. And till next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.